Listen to that. That is not a soundtrack. That is Jupiter's magnetic field, recorded by Juno as it crossed into its domain. For centuries, we looked at it and called it a beauty, the peaceful gas giant, serene amber clouds, and a perfect storm we named the Great Red Spot. But we are looking at a crime scene. Jupiter is not serene. It is a gravitational catastrophe so massive, it outweighs everything else in this solar system combined. Every other planet could fit inside it with room to spare. A ball of hydrogen and helium spinning so fast, its equator bulges outward, and its poles are crushed flat. The whole thing is a bloated, distorted bully that can't even spin without deforming itself. The storm we marvel at is wider than the entire Earth. It has been raging for centuries. And it has a history so violent, the world you were born on almost wasn't here. Welcome to the solar system's bloated tyrant. Before Earth existed, Jupiter had already finished forming. It sat in the outer solar system, heavier than everything else combined, embedded in a thick disk of gas flowing inward toward the Sun. The gas pulled Jupiter with it, and it came into the inner solar system. It crossed the orbit of what would become Saturn, then the asteroid belt, and kept moving. Protoplanets that had been building for millions of years had no warning. Some had water, atmospheres. They were worlds on the edge of becoming something. Then Jupiter reached their neighborhood. Its gravity reached into those orbits like fingers and began twisting them. Paths tilted, stretched into ellipses. Entire worlds accelerated into each other. They collided. Catastrophically, the debris fed the Sun, and what was left of the corpses was consumed by the monster. Jupiter ate its siblings and kept moving. Now, Jupiter had reached the orbit of what would become Mars. The inner solar system was a graveyard, and this prehistoric wrecking engine had not yet decided to stop. Something had to stop it. Saturn didn't act out of heroism. It had mass, timing, and the misfortune of catching up to Jupiter at exactly the right moment. Their gravities locked into a resonance that reversed Jupiter's migration. But the inner solar system was already unrecognizable. The material that should have built living worlds had been scattered, shredded, and swallowed. What remained was a thin, depleted ring of rock and ice, huddled close to the Sun. Jupiter didn't just eat its siblings, it left a poverty in everything that came after. But in the wreckage, something began to accumulate. Small, fragile, rock shaken loose from dead worlds, drifting for millions of years, slowly gathered into a body that would eventually hold an ocean. That body is the one you were born on. Earth is not a success story. Earth is the mess Jupiter left behind. A monument to how little Jupiter needed to leave for life to eventually find its foothold. Saturn saved you, but Jupiter didn't retire. It settled into its current orbit, 5 times Earth's distance from the Sun, and has been running this solar system ever since. Not as a protector, as a landlord who burned the building down, then charges rent on the ashes. From Earth, the Great Red Spot looks like a blemish, a beauty mark. But do not be fooled. It is a hurricane wider than the entire Earth, with winds screaming at 400 miles per hour, raging continuously for 350 years. It is shrinking its own winds, eating it alive, dying for as long as we've been watching, and it's still there, spinning violently. Inside that storm, each bolt of lightning strikes with the force of a nuclear weapon. Thousands of them fire continuously inside a single storm the size of a planet. The Great Red Spot is not a feature. It is Jupiter's violence written across its atmosphere. Look at Jupiter's North Pole. Nature does not make patterns like this. Storms are chaotic. They collide, merge, and dissolve. They do not hold perfect geometric formation for decades without drifting. Jupiter's polar cyclones are locked in position. 8 storms at the North Pole arranged in a perfect octagon around a central storm. This monster decorated its own poles with permanent storms. But this is just the surface. If you fell into Jupiter, you would not hit the ground. There is no surface. Inside Jupiter, hydrogen compresses so violently, it stops behaving like gas and starts conducting electricity like metal, flowing in currents that generate a monstrous magnetic field. You would sink the way you sink through water, except it gets hotter, denser, and more crushing with every meter. The pressure flattens you into a smear long before you reach the core. Falling into Jupiter doesn't end. It just gets worse until you stop existing. Jupiter's magnetic field is the largest structure in the solar system after the Sun. It funnels charged particles from the Sun into radiation belts so intense, the inner belts deliver a lethal dose in minutes. Every orbit Juno took slowly degraded its instruments. Jupiter was eating the spacecraft the entire time it was there. Jupiter has built its own moat just to kill everything that gets too close. Meet Io, the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system. Over 400 active volcanoes. Lava lakes larger than the Mediterranean Sea. Io has no craters. Every impact scar is buried before it can set. A world being destroyed and rebuilt, trapped in a cycle it cannot escape. And the reason is Jupiter. Io orbits so close that Jupiter's gravity squeezes it constantly. One side pulled harder than the other, generating heat that melts the rock from the inside. Io cannot cool down. Jupiter has been torturing its closest moon for billions of years, and it cannot leave. But Io is not the only victim. Jupiter still sends rocks hurling at Earth. After Saturn reversed its migration, Jupiter positioned itself at precisely the distance where its gravity creates resonance zones, just so it could redirect asteroids back into the inner solar system. Jupiter went on a massacre and is still spiteful that Earth survived. In 1994, we watched Jupiter eat something in real time. A comet called Shoemaker-Levy 9 passed too close, and Jupiter's gravity tore it into 21 pieces. The largest fragment hit with the force of 6 million nuclear weapons. The fireball rose above Jupiter's cloud tops and left a scar larger than Earth. But Jupiter's clouds closed over each scar. By the following year, the surface was almost unmarked. It barely registered. You exist because Jupiter was interrupted. So look at Jupiter tonight, that amber glow in your sky. Steady, peaceful, and ancient. But it's a monster that has eaten worlds, tortured moons, and hurled mountains of rock at us. It's the most dangerous thing in our sky. Yet it rises every night, looking just like a star.